In the rugged topography of eastern Turkey, the greater Mount Ararat region commands an imposing geographic and historical footprint. Tucked into the nearby foothills is the Durupinar Formation, a 538-foot-long, remarkably ship-shaped anomaly that has captivated researchers and explorers for decades. Looking at the topographical data, the physical dimensions of the site align perfectly with the biblical blueprint of Noah's Ark, mirroring the precise length-to-width ratio of 300 by 50 by 30 cubits. Yet rigorous field surveys by both secular and creationist geologists reveal a strict geological reality. The site is entirely devoid of petrified wood or structural iron. It is a naturally occurring, doubly plunging syncline. To accurately assess the feasibility of the Ark, we have to stop looking at geological lookalikes. We must audit the original text as a theoretical blueprint, using modern fluid dynamics, thermodynamics, and biological taxonomy. Traditional wooden shipbuilding carries absolute physical limits. Historically, wooden vessels exceeding 300 feet in length typically succumb to severe structural failure in open water. Long wooden hulls are highly susceptible to hogging and sagging. As ocean swells pass, uneven buoyancy causes rigid timber to snap. But the Ark's textual dimensions outline a 6:1 to 0.6 ratio, forming a near-pure rectangular prism. Modern naval engineers test optimal hull shapes by simulating extreme, confused sea states and applying intense wave-bending moments to physical models. This diagram illustrates metacentric height, the distance between gravity and buoyancy. The Ark's block geometry yields a massive metacentric height of 47.75 feet. When tipped, the center of buoyancy rapidly shifts, forcing the ship upright against hurricane-force winds with minimal heel. The greatest vulnerability for any vessel in heavy seas is broaching, being turned broadside to massive waves. This threatens even highly stable box hulls with capsize. Ancient shipbuilders countered this using passive direction-keeping features. Extreme upswept stems acted as wind-catching sails, naturally pivoting the bow directly into the wind and oncoming waves. Another established method involves using drogue stones. By hanging massive anchor weights from the stern, the resulting hydrodynamic drag forces the vessel to maintain alignment with the direction of the wave travel. The Ark specifications describe a mathematically sound survival barge, engineered to withstand immense shear forces through specific geometric stability rather than active propulsion. Moving from the exterior physics to the interior environment introduces a severe crisis: the accumulation of metabolic heat, carbon dioxide, and lethal methane generated by a packed biological payload. Managing this environment did not require complex mechanical HVAC systems. The vessel's architecture utilized closed-system thermodynamics. Look at this thermal cross-section. The extreme temperature differential between warm-blooded animals and the cold ocean naturally drives passive convection currents. These thermal loops force lighter, toxic gases like methane up and out through the Sohar, a gabled central skylight. Another mechanism is the moon pool, a central vertical shaft open to the ocean below. Passing swells cause the water level to rise and fall, acting as a massive pneumatic piston, pumping stale air out and drawing fresh air in. The internal systems also had to address the logistical nightmare of managing an estimated 12 tons of daily animal waste with a crew of 8. The proposed use of slatted floors and gravity-fed sloping gutters allows solid and liquid waste to fall into central longitudinal channels, flushing directly overboard without human intervention. The internal architecture of the Ark represents a highly efficient, closed-loop life support system, relying entirely on passive physics rather than miraculous daily maintenance. The most persistent critique of the Ark model is the spatial constraint, the sheer impossibility of fitting millions of modern species into the measured volume of the hull. This diagram outlines baraminology. Noah took 2 of every basal-created kind, not every modern species, represented as an orchard of distinct trees. These extinct morphotypes carried immense genetic plasticity, rapidly adapting and specializing into varied modern species after the flood. Applying this reveals why long-necked giraffes were not on the Ark. The original payload was an extinct short-necked ancestor with 4-point ossicones, like the Chancytherium. We see the same categorization applied to the Pakicetus, a creature widely classified as a transitional walking whale in standard evolutionary models. The creationist framework classifies Pakicetus not as a whale ancestor, but as a uniquely adapted semi-aquatic land mammal utilizing dense ballast bones for shallow wading. We also find non-mammalian synapsids. Look at the Synagonathus. It defies modern categorization, fusing a mammalian jaw structure with reptilian skull openings. The existence of these highly varied, extinct creatures aligns with the model of a pre-flood world teeming with diverse, basal organisms that did not fit neatly into modern taxonomic boxes. The Ark functioned as a highly concentrated, genetically potent repository, carrying the basal blueprints needed to rapidly repopulate a devastated planet. Returning to the physical reality of the Durupinar site in Turkey, fluid dynamics explain how the Earth was shaped to trick the eye. Massive mudflows hit a solid basalt outcropping and parted, forming a perfect, pointed, boat-shaped perimeter. Recent sediment sampling from the site reveals high concentrations of marine deposits and seafood remnants locked in the soil. These samples date to the Chalcolithic period, between 3500 and 5000 BCE. While this timeline aligns with biblical flood dates, it proves the area was subjected to catastrophic underwater flooding, not that the structure is a boat. Extensive ground-penetrating radar and soil analysis reveal a complete lack of a wind superstructure, pitch sealant, or structural iron, definitively confirming the syncline classification. Rigorous creationist scientists and secular geologists are in total agreement on this point. Durupinar is a mesmerizing geological phantom, not a petrified relic. The Genesis flood narrative provides an internally consistent theoretical blueprint for extreme naval architecture and biological resilience, independent of the mud anomalies found in the mountains.